The Raptors came out and crushed the Los Angeles Lakers in their most recent outing, bouncing back nicely from the L they took to the Boston Celtics earlier this week. So we'll break down that game as well as details being leaked about the Toronto Raptors players-only meeting that was widely reported on over this weekend. And we also have a little update in terms of 3 players that will now be trade eligible in the coming weeks. So a bunch of stuff to dive into. Without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Dive, just breaking down the latest Toronto Raptors news. And the first thing that we're taking a look at is the Toronto Raptors absolutely crushing the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, the Lakers came into this game pretty hot. They lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers, but without their 2 star players, it didn't seem like the Lakers would really have a chance against the Toronto Raptors. Unfortunately for Toronto fans, this was the case, as right from the jump, a motivated Toronto Raptors team got out to an 11-0 lead. And, while the Lakers did make a couple of runs here and there, they didn't just roll over and die in the first 5 minutes, right? Toronto kept their foot on the gas and got a professional win, a much-needed win in this one. And we had a lot of big performances, and one guy that has received a lot of criticism in recent weeks has been Fred VanVleet. It seemed like he sort of bounced back in this game. Again, against a shorthanded Lakers team, you can't take too many takeaways from it, but it is nice and positive because even in a couple of blowout wins we had in recent weeks, Fred VanVleet still hasn't had the most efficient shooting nights, but he was pretty solid in this outing in this one, as Fred VanVleet had 25 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, and 8 of 20 from the field. So still not remarkably efficient, especially from behind the 3-point line with 3 of 12, but looked a lot more confident in taking his shots and was just hitting more of his middies. And from the eye test, it looked like Fred VanVleet was more effective in terms of finishing around the rim. So, the 3-point shot ends up coming and going, and I trust Fred VanVleet's jump shot to sort of come back into its own. I know a lot of people have even criticized him coming off even last year's All-Star game, right? From that point forward, his efficiency numbers have gone down. Some people are saying this is the way he is. I trust Fred VanVleet's jump shot to come around, but one area that I really think needs to improve and really has to be added to his game is he has to become more of an efficient inside scorer. And I thought tonight had a couple of really nice reverse layups, had a couple of nice floaters go in for him. So if he can sort of find some shots, right, that are effective for him for driving in the lanes, because especially in that Celtics outing, they were letting him drive into the middle of the court and let him hoist up shots that he was just missing. If he can find a way to score effectively, whether it be in the 5 to 10 foot range or be quick enough, I don't think he's going to be ever like Russell Westbrook, who he played last night, where he can just explode to the rim, finish over or around people. Like obviously he's not going to start dunking on people, but finish like Kyrie Irving does around the rim. I don't think he'll ever add that to his bag, but get a shot that he can be effective in, from driving inside the lane to keep the defenders honest so they can't just stay up close to him the entire game and lock up his 3-point shots. I think that will be a huge progression for Fred VanVleet's game, and I thought we saw little glimpses of it in last night's game against the LA Lakers. So I thought that was an absolute positive. Also, once again, Pascal Siakam, this dude has just been an absolute beast for this team, and once again last night, 25 points in as well for Pascal, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals. Professional performance, 10 of 20 from the field. Didn't knock down many of his threes, but, Pascal Siakam, just night in, night out, has been the best Toronto Raptor this season. So, got to give props. Continue to give props for Pascal playing well. And the second best Toronto Raptor this season has been OG Anunoby, who, again, also had a pretty solid night after not having a big performance against the Boston Celtics, even though he played solid on the defensive end. But OG tonight, 23 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, playing elite defense as always. He's been in a little bit of a 3-point shooting slump as well, 2 of 8, but again, the Toronto Raptors didn't need a lot of these shots to end up hitting in this one, so, the 3 guys we expect to be the best night in, night out for the Toronto Raptors, at least at this point in their careers, are sort of veterans on the team. They all played pretty phenomenal. Our 3 NBA champions, I guess Boucher is also an NBA champion as well, so nice to see those guys come out, get a little bit of momentum, a little confidence booster. And we have a couple games against the Orlando Magic this weekend, so hopefully the Toronto Raptors can carry over that positive momentum and give out a little award, Scotty Barnes Award tonight. It's back, baby, and it's going to none other than the leading people that don't know, the criteria is fluid on this award. It changes game by game, but tonight it's going to the guy that got the most rebounds in this one, and it's going to none other than Mr. Scotty Barnes, who in this performance had 13 points, 17 rebounds, 4 assists. I like the way he's sort of driving the lanes. I like his mentality in recent performances. The last 3 games for Scotty Barnes, I've seen him take a more considered effort to just get some paint touches, facilitate when he's inside the lane. Yes, he still gets some unfortunate turnovers, which you'd expect from a young player. Yes, he's still, you'd like to see him knock down a few more of his shots, whether they be from the mid-range or behind the three-point line, but I like the style of play. He's playing more like he did, in the second half of his rookie season when he really took the reins in terms of Rookie of the Year and showed off that obviously it's nascent, obviously it's not there yet, but the superstar level potential. I think he's feeding into his own abilities a little bit better. 6 of 12 from the field tonight, only took 2 threes. Scotty Barnes is much better when he's attacking the rim, doing those post-ups, doing those touches around the basket rather than just being a three-point shooter first. So he was solid, and the star boy Gary Trent Jr. also has been able to thrive a little bit off the bench. Right, in this game had 18 points, 2 rebounds, a couple steals. Not the most efficient night for him as well. Again, no one really had the game going from behind the three-point line as it wasn't really needed. But I like that the big positive tonight from Gary Trent Jr. because I've made it known on these podcasts that I'm not a big fan of Gary Trent Jr. coming off the bench. I don't like it off the sole fact. It just seems like in the games he's come off the bench, he wasn't getting the right amount of minutes. While tonight, thought Nick Nurse, and it's easier when you have a game against LA Lakers where you have a big lead throughout most of it, but I thought he managed the rotations correctly. Gary Trent Jr. essentially got the same amount of minutes as all the starters, and whether he's coming off the bench or starting, he deserves his 30-plus minutes a night. Able to manage Fred VanVleet's minutes pretty solid in this one, and just a well-coached, well-executed game for this Raptors team. Thad played well even though he didn't score a point. Boucher scored well off the bench. Right, the Toronto Raptors came in and got a professional win. I'll swing into the segments in this one, and tonight, the one, the only, the spicy P lay of the day. It's going to the guy that's been receiving a lot of criticism as of late, Fred VanVleet. Again, I thought he made some great decisions when he drove to the basket, whether it be, actually making his finishes or dishing off to other players, because he had a really nice sort of shake, drove into the lane, and while the defenders sort of collapsed him, he jumped threw a nice little scoop pass down there to OG Anunoby, who got a nice massive dunk. OG had like 4 or 5 dunks in this game. Mans was trying to send those things home, and he had a missed dunk as well where Pascal Siakam ended up cleaning it up. So lots of positive fun plays from this LA Lakers game, but not all plays could be the spicy play of the day, and some just make you say oh geez. And tonight the OG's play of the day, it's going to Gary Trent Jr. as well as OG Anunoby. Not really any. It was on the court, but OG Anunoby, or Gary Trent Jr. ended up absolutely slapping the heck out of OG Anunoby's hands. It showed up on the broadcast, but tried to give him a high five. And anyone that's played basketball knows you probably have had 1 or 2 teammates over your lifetime that just gives the most hardest, ridiculous high fives. You're afraid you're going to break your hand when you end up catching that slap. And Gary Trent Jr. sent one of those high fives to OG Anunoby. Noticeably looked at him, started giggling on the sideline. Made me say OGs. Don't be injuring our guy OG Anunoby off a high five, Gary. So that's the one there. And finally, the infamous, the one, the only, the Paul Pierce Golden Kazoo Award of the evening. And it's just going to Anthony. It's the injury gods. I've seen a lot of criticism come out towards LeBron James and Anthony Davis for not playing, the one game a year where they're in Toronto. The one time Toronto fans, local Toronto fans, Canadian fans get to see LeBron James, Anthony Davis. We gave tickets away. Shout out to Coolbet for supporting the podcast and helping out with the giveaway. But Anthony Davis, LeBron James, not suiting up in this one. And while it's not really criticism of them, because LeBron James did have that ankle injury coming off the back-to-back and stuff. He's old. Anthony Davis unfortunately got ill in the Cleveland Cavaliers game. He tried to fight through it in that one, but clearly only played 3 or 4 minutes. It makes sense why he didn't play in this game. So just Golden Kazoos going out to the injury gods, because I would like to see them play. And it would have been a nice test for this Raptors team to beat Anthony Davis-led, LeBron James-led Lakers team that have been hot as of late. And as mentioned, we had Ayana go win the giveaway for the Raptors-Lakers tickets. If you guys want to be entered in to draw any potential draws we have in the coming weeks, coming months, definitely sign up for CoolBet using our link down below. They're a sports book that you can be accessed across Canada. They have amazing lines, and if you join using our link down below, send myself or Josh a screenshot. You can get your own custom betting lines. We have, I keep this graphic up, but we're making these custom lines with CoolBet, that can get you some boosted odds. Will had an interesting line last night with Russell Westbrook turnovers, and then we were able to contact Coolbet, get some boosted odds. So if you want those boosted odds, you want those perks, you want to bet alongside the Toronto Raptors Digest, definitely download that down below. It means the world to us. But we got some more news to dive into in this video. Next thing we're talking about is the truth revealed about Raptors players only meeting. Now, a lot was made about how the Toronto Raptors had a players only meeting this weekend because they took some brutal losses last week against the New Orleans Pelicans as well as the Brooklyn Nets. And things have come out that apparently this meeting was completely over exaggerated by the media. Reports came out about how, they got everyone together. They were frustrated about the early losses, but Doug Smith did a little deep dive in terms of what actually happened in this players only meeting, essentially saying that they were just talking things out. It wasn't really anyone getting called out. There wasn't any big blow-ups inside the locker room. If there was two things apparent from being around NBA players a few years, it's this. If they're not playing well, they know they're not playing well, and it doesn't matter who points it out. They all know. And the meetings just affirmed that. So there was no name calling. There was no screaming. They just said, hey, we got to get our heads out of our butts and fast. It was sort of that type of thing. It kind of goes on every day with a larger group involved and suggests that they're the antidote for slumps and defies logic and history. And as one player put it, we sucked. We just wanted to let everyone know that we're going to be fine. So looks like the Raptors still have that internal confidence about themselves. It wasn't a blow up. There wasn't any internal calling out or anything like that. And even Nick Nurse, when someone said the team was playing badly, he corrected them and saying, no, this team is not bad. I would never use that term to describe this group of guys. So everything seems all good in the Raptors land, even though they've still been losing a couple of their big games. Hopefully now if they can beat this, they beat this LA Lakers team, win a couple games against the Orlando Magic, then everything will be back in the swing. We start slapping the top teams once again. But the next thing we're talking about is three Raptors players have now become Raptors have three players that are becoming eligible for a trade in this coming week. Now, this brought to my attention. Aaron Rose did an article on Sports Illustrated, but I believe that's his outlet. But essentially saying that three players have become trade eligible for next week. And that includes Otto Porter Jr., Juancho Hernangomez, as well as Justin Champagnie. So for people that don't know, right, December 15th is usually when we start to see trades happen. Rumors came out in the last video that we made, your last news video, about how Jakob Poeltl is on the Raptors' radar. We're persistently asking for him. So if you expect any big moves to be made, or you want the Toronto Raptors to make moves, it's usually after that December 15th deadline or start time where, a quarter of the league, a lot of guys that signed during the offseason will be eligible to be traded. So Juancho, Otto Porter Jr., as well as Justin Champagnie will be available on the open market. So that also means other players will be as well. So let me know what moves you guys would like to see the Toronto Raptors make down below. And I want to bring this up again as more news came about it. But Fred VanVleet explains all the Instagram drama in a post-game interview. And I said it on this podcast. This was being over-exaggerated, over-exacerbated. I don't know why this became an insane story because, you've unfollowed everyone. Right, it's not like and he still followed the Toronto Raptors, which is the interesting part. But it came out that Fred VanVleet, for people that don't know, unfollowed his teammates on Instagram, and he just basically came out and said that he's trying to avoid all the algorithms. I feel it, Fred. Sometimes you just get recommended very weird things. Hopefully, you're getting recommended Raptors Digest content because we've been posting big time on IG there now. But I digress on that point. So if it's not Raptors Digest content, I see why people get frustrated at just getting pushed random things. And it seems like the Instagram algorithm isn't as in tune with maybe the TikTok and YouTube algorithms, because I get recommended some random stuff on IG, and I know a lot of my friends do. So Fred's just trying to unfollow people to fix those algorithms, apparently. And he also unfollowed his mom, and no one made any ruckus about that. So I don't know. I thought it was overblown in the first place. Just wanted to address it again at the end of this video. But you guys are the best to make this far. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Download Coolbet. Supports the channel big time. Let us know as well. It's a free app to download. So use the link down below. It means the world to us. Anyways, you guys are the best. I'm signing out. Cheers.